Hello beautiful ladies, it's Fiona May from Women on Transition. Just thought I'd jump in the group and talk to you today about how you handle your stress. When you get stressed, what do you do? How do you act when you get triggered? What I've found after doing this work for so many years is that every one of us has got what we call an emotional home. It's the place we go to when we're under pressure. And this is not conscious. This is not something you're choosing to do. This is a behaviour that you've learnt and developed, and it's just become what's familiar to you. So, it's not even a conscious decision. But the problem is when we just go to, whatever our go-to home is. Now, for some people, this is going to be anger. Some people, this is going to be blaming other people for their situation. For some people, they're going to retreat and just hide. For some people, they will just throw themselves into their work and just bunker down. All of these things are a way that we just trying to cope. They're not right or wrong, it's just what we've learned to do. And the problem is when we don't face the real problem and deal with the underlying core beliefs and the problems that are there for us, we just look for band-aids to fix it. And that leads us to looking for things to do to soothe ourselves or to take ourselves out of the equation. And so what a lot of people will often do is, when they're triggered and when they're stressed, instead of going inside and having a look at what the challenges really are and dealing with those, they project their pain outwards. So hurting people always hurt other people, and it's not intentional. It's just them doing what they can do. They don't have any tools to do it differently. And so this is a situation that many of us find ourselves in. When you're triggered and you're stressed, I want you to just become conscious of what your emotional home is. Where do you go? Because the patterns will be familiar. They will be what you've been doing since you're a little girl. These don't just develop in later life, they're actually our patterns from our childhood. And if we want to have a different emotional home, we need to understand why we do the things we do and why we react the way we react. All we want is love, and we want to know that it's going to be okay and that we're going to be able to get through this. But the way as human beings that we act out isn't always in our best interest. And in most cases, it's never in our best interest. And what we end up doing is we push people away from us who could be loving us and who could be supporting us. So what can we do differently? We've got to learn other ways of being. Look outside of what's familiar. Look for what you don't know. And this is where we need to educate ourselves, and we need to become emotionally fit. So we've got another way of being. So what I'd suggest here is that, once you become conscious of what your go-to emotion is, then we look at that and we look at why we're acting like that, what fear is actually coming up, because it's always a fear that we're trying to avoid and we're taking our eyes off because we don't want to feel it. So what I suggest here is you actually just take some time to ground yourself. If you find yourself getting triggered, rather than projecting and blaming everybody else, I want you to just sit. And instead of blaming yourself, because self-blame's, that's not loving yourself. So this is your opportunity, and I want to invite you to start giving yourself the love that you've been craving your whole life. Go within and feel your feelings and don't bury them. So with that, I want to wish you a very, very beautiful day. You are loved, you are good enough, and you are worthy. And you can get through this. I know that this is a challenging time in all of our lives, but on the other side of this is freedom.